Hey crafters, it's Janet with Crafting It Up and Creations. So I hope you're having a wonderful day. I have a midweek video for you. This is a really simple ornament. I just did it in hopes to give you other ideas, and the possibilities for this ornament are really way out there. You can do so many different things, but I wanted to use some of these beads from Michaels in their value sets that I got earlier in the year and have been using on several different ornaments to put them to more good use. And as always, I know that a lot of you have been following along since the very beginning. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you're just now joining me, I go all the way back to almost August 24th, I believe, when I started this journey of Christmas ornaments. I hope by the end of the series that I'll have at least like 25 different videos on these. And that'll kind of coincide with like the 25 days of Christmas. Now these are shatterproof ornaments that Hobby Lobby has. They're really nice. They're in that unfinished wood bead. And you can kind of see it looks like they have a metal piece that kind of holds that into shape. And they were $11.99 for 4. Now, of course, right now, all their Christmas stuff is 50% off. So they're only $6. So you would have to decide, you know, if it's well worth it. But if you're like me and you already have the beads on hand, then you can make these yourselves. Now, I have what's called memory wire in a lot of my jewelry collection stuff, and I thought, now that will hold the shape of this circle. And so I thought I would give that, you know, definitely give that a whirl. You could put your bow at the top, you could put a bow at the bottom, you could leave the bow completely off, you could just use twine, you could dye your beads, you can use stain on them. I know that I've seen some of the long thing of beads at Hobby Lobby. They would be 50% off that are already dyed red. And I think those would be beautiful. And it gave me just another idea of maybe going back and doing like a red and just a plain bead one. I think that would look really pretty. Now I have some of this Jacobine wood stain. And I've got a little opener, some gloves. And then I'm going to use this memory wire by Beadalon. Now the only bad thing about this memory wire is you do need a special cutter for this. And this was a necklace one. I got this from Joann's.com. I also have some that are in a little bracelet size, but I don't know where those came from. I may have got them online at one of the stores. I usually ordered from Fire Mountain Gems, or there's another store and I can't think of it. If I do remember, I'll link it in the description box below. But I really love this memory wire, but you do need special cutters for this memory wire, and it's located in the jewelry section of any of your craft stores. This wire is like a steel grade wire. Perhaps even some of your husbands would have some like little cutters, but I do not recommend using your actual jewelry cutters for this memory wire because it will mess them up big time. These are just a pair of the regular jewelry cutters that I have. And like I say, definitely don't use those on this memory wire. It will jack them up. So as you can see, this is really nice springy memory wire. And I'm going to cut it with these special cutters. And I probably cut this one just a little bit too long, but I wanted to see if I could even make this even larger. But I honestly, when it was all said and done, I decided to do just a smaller ornament because I just wanted to do one that was a little bit on the smaller size. But you could definitely stretch that out and add just as many beads as long as it is. Now I'm also going to use some twine, and I'm going to kind of feed the twine in alongside the memory wire. And this is just Dollar Tree twine, and this is fine for the big hold beads. These beads kind of have like a larger hole. As you can see, some of the twine kind of is thicker in some places and thinner in others. So this little thick piece, I'll end up cutting that off at first. But most of the time, it will go through that hole. I do have some little smaller beads as well, and that's what I decided to use on the little bracelet one. And this is out of the great value, or the value packs that Michaels has as well. But I didn't end up using it on the smaller one, but I do regret that, and you'll see why at the end. And I'm going to open up this Varathane wood stain. I probably should have went ahead and put both gloves on. But But I'm going to open it up, and I'm just going to use an old brush. As you can see, this one is very well loved. The paint's kind of coming off of the handle, but I'm going to use that one to just go across my beads. Now, a lot of times when people use the stain, they'll go through and put it on whatever wood project they have, and then you would go back and kind of go over it with a cloth or even a paper towel, just to kind of pull that extra stain up. So I would definitely recommend doing that. But I absolutely love this color. I think it is just so pretty. I think even this and the red beads would be so pretty. I may even make some of those off camera and share them with you at a later date. I have some other ornaments that I've made that are like on the same lines of some of the other ornaments I have, and I plan to share those in a later video, and hopefully that will be up by tomorrow. I just go through and I just stain a bunch of these. I just love this color. Now, if they have the finish on them, you can't stain them, but these are the unfinished beads. But they do have some that have like a coating on them. You can paint those, but you definitely can't stain them. Now, I'm going to take the memory wire, and then I'm going to put the twine kind of right beside it and feed them through together. Now, I do notice after just a little bit, it kind of tears up my twine on that end. And I take a little bit of hot glue on that tip of that twine and add it to kind of like dollop on it so that it'll set all flat. And you'll see that here in just a second. But it definitely works in your favor if you kind of make it so it's easier to go through. And like I say, this is, well, I actually cut some off. But this is the easiest way that I found to do it. And I think it ruffled up again, and then I was like, well, let me try the old tried and true trick of adding some hot glue to the tip of that. And I use one of those little silicone fingers to kind of hold it in place so that I won't burn myself. And this works out great. And so I just go through, and in most of these I had about 14 beads on them. I think the very last one I messed up and didn't add the very last bead that I had, so one of them may have just 13. I tried to slow this down a little bit because what I do at the very end is I start to tie a knot, and then I shove in the memory wire into the beads beside it, and that knotted piece actually holds it in place. And then I'll add a hanging element to it as well. And then I did the smaller one for like the little bracelet size. But as you can see, you can kind of open up that memory wire as you keep going. And you can almost make this one just as large as the wire that you cut, because you're still going to be able to feed it inside of those wooden beads. I apologize. I have like a little cold coming on, and it didn't hit me until about 3 o'clock yesterday at work, and I was like, why do I have a tickle in my throat all of a sudden? Like, it was like all of a sudden, it was so crazy. So I fed the wire through on this one and didn't add the twine or even the value pack of the twine that Michael's had, and I did regret that because you can still pull this one apart. So in order to make sure that doesn't happen, I add the twine to the hanging element, and I put hot glue in between two of those beads that are together, because I'm going to use a bow kind of to go in between, and then I kind of hot glue on two of the beads on each side of that, twine hanger, and that'll ensure that that kind of all stays together. And I really like how these came out. Like I say, it's a really simple project, but there's so many different possibilities of adding different colors, and you can just kind of make it your own. $6 for 4 of them is not a bad price. I think, with their 50% off all their Christmas items, it's definitely a good price point. But I love making stuff that I have created, that I have done, and adding my own twist to it, adding my own ribbon to it. especially if you have like colors. And this is where I realized you could kind of pull it apart, so I decided to glue some of those beads together. Now these are some ribbons that I have gotten. One is from Hobby Lobby and the other two are from Joann's. But if you have a Hobby Lobby near you, I suggest Hobby Lobby, because this ribbon was only $1.99. Whenever they put it 50% off, it's only $1. These are $3.99, so even at 50% off, these are still $2. If you are really wanting that black and white check ribbon though, they do have it at Hobby Lobby, but if you don't have one of those around you, a lot of times, this time of year especially, Joann's is really good about doing 60 and 70% off, and even like, you know, they're 50% off plus an extra 20. So I would just watch for those sales. And these came together really easily, really nice. I really want to go back and add some red beads into these, and maybe even some gray ones. So if you didn't know and haven't watched any of the other videos, you can definitely water down your acrylic paints and use them as a stain. So you don't have to go out and buy some of those expensive stains, and they work just as well. I absolutely love doing that, and I have used some of the the outdoor acrylic paints that Arteza sent me. So I have used a bunch of those on a lot of different ornaments. And incidentally, I'll link all the Arteza information down below. I did a video this last Saturday of some supplies that they sent me. There is a coupon code, Crafting It Up To, that you can use on their website right now to get an automatic 10% off. But if you go into that video, and I'll link it up in the iCards here, and enter your name in their email, they'll send a special code for Black Friday, and it's supposed to be some really good discounts. So just follow that link, enter your email, and then you'll get a confirmation that you're all set. I've already done it. I really want the little fun brush pens that they have, or markers. They're like a brush tip, and they're really nice looking. I love this pink velvet ribbon. I got it at Joann's. I haven't seen it anywhere else. It's not double-sided, so I do have to kind of twist the ribbon around so that you only see that velvet side of it, but it's definitely doable. And then I decided to even add one of my rusty bells in with this as well, and I'll link that up in the iCards as well in case you're interested in watching that video, where I use a couple paints to make these little bells look really rusty, and they're from the Dollar Tree. And these are paints that I had on hand for some other things that really made this rusty look, and I absolutely love them. I just happened to run out of them this year, so that's why I ended up making more, and I thought, well, I'm going to use that process. I tied a knot twice at the top part of the bell, and I even added a little bit of hot glue before I added that second knot, just so it would stay secure. And when I bring this up around the top, I kind of crisscross it. So I go in behind the bow on one side and around the bow on the other, and I'm going to tie that in a knot as well, and even add another little dollop of hot glue so that stays secure as well. And I think adding that little rusty bell in the middle of that just really looks so darling. It makes me want to actually go back and add a couple to some of the other ones. I really love that. I've even thought about just adding it with one piece of, twine. Tie it at the very bottom and then tie it at the top. Definitely your preference. And then the last bow, I used the red and black check, and I doubled the ribbon over so that it's kind of like a double bow, and you can kind of pull out each of the layers of it, and you have that really pretty double bow. Like I say, I know these are a really simple ornament, but I hope you guys like them. I hope I've inspired you to even maybe make some, especially if you followed along and you have bought some of the same supplies that I have. I hope to give you other ideas to use up your supplies this Christmas and make a lot of cute little ornaments. And I think these hanging off a package to give someone, or as a surprise present to a coworker or to family members, is just such a great idea. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments down below if you might be making any of these or if you've made any of my ornaments. I'm so excited whenever you guys tell me some of the different stories that I've read that you've done these ornaments and where and with who. It just makes my heart burst into happiness, and I need all of that I can get right now. Just saying. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you so much for coming by and spending some time with me. It really does mean the world to me. I hope you guys are having a great week. I hope you get a moment to craft it up, and take care.